What's up, everybody? Today we are talking about signs and causes of vocal problems. A big sign that somebody may be developing a vocal problem is that the voice becomes uncharacteristically raspy or hoarse for extended periods of time. Now, some people have naturally raspy voices. This can be caused by anomalies on the vocal folds or other anatomic reasons that don't indicate damage. Although if that person is a singer, then they may want to just go to a doctor and find out if that is indeed their normal. But if a person doesn't have a characteristically raspy voice and it becomes raspy or hoarse, or maybe it becomes more raspy or hoarse than usual for a long period of time, this may be an indication that there is something wrong. Another sign that often accompanies vocal problems is when one experiences gaps in their range for extended periods of time. So they might lose the middle part of their range for several days or weeks at a time, or maybe it's just the low end or the high end. Other signs are that the voice gets tired very easily after maybe singing for 10 or 15 minutes, and that it often feels raw, achy, or strained. Finally, a person with vocal problems is probably going to feel the need to clear their throat often. We've talked a little bit about how when the voice is injured or very fatigued, it actually produces extra mucus as a healing mechanism. Now, if you're just clearing your throat without any of those other symptoms, then you're unlikely to have a vocal problem. You may just be dehydrated or sick or vocally tired. But if you're experiencing the need to clear your throat along with a number of these other symptoms, then it may be an indication that something is vocally off. So let's talk about common causes of vocal problems. One common cause is illness, especially when one has an upper respiratory infection that's accompanied by a cough. As we talked about in the video on sickness, when one has a cough, the vocal folds are slamming together really, really hard, and it's pretty damaging and tiring for the vocal folds. So they swell, they get really tired, they get inflamed. This, of course, is going to lead to hoarseness and probably a good amount of discomfort, but should clear up when the sickness goes away. Other causes of vocal challenges are sometimes allergies, which can result in irritation. It can result in dryness, and sometimes people get a postnasal drip, which can drip onto the vocal folds and cause some inflammation and irritation. And of course, the long-term effects of smoking, chronic drinking, and any other lifestyle factors that can be damaging to vocal and physical health over a long period of time. Vocal problems can also be caused by acid reflux, leading to a condition known as reflux laryngitis. This is caused by stomach acid actually coming up the esophageal tube and sort of peeking over onto the tracheal side where it irritates the vocal folds. Sometimes this is accompanied by heartburn, but probably more often it happens when people are asleep. This is a big reason why it's important to avoid foods that can cause acid reflux, especially before singing. But people who can be particularly affected by reflux laryngitis are those with a condition known as GERD, which is gastroesophageal reflux disease. GERD causes an abnormal amount of reflux and can often lead to laryngitis. I actually knew somebody, a fantastic singer, who was experiencing chronic hoarseness in their voice for a month at a time for seemingly no explanation. They went to the doctor and found out that they had reflux laryngitis. They got medication for it, and almost immediately it was under control and they never experienced that problem again. Finally, the biggest cause of vocal problems is vocal misuse and vocal overuse. We're going to break down exactly what that means. But until then, here's what to do if you're experiencing vocal trouble. First, don't panic. Most vocal issues can be solved with rest and maybe changing some habits. And so the first thing to do is exactly that. Examine your speaking and singing habits. We're going to talk in the next video about what healthy speaking and habits look like. But maybe just start to think about what you're doing when you speak and sing, and maybe the things that make you feel more tired than others. The next line of defense is vocal rest. Stop singing, stop speaking, stop yelling, don't whisper, stop. A lot of people wonder why you shouldn't whisper when you're on vocal rest or trying to save your voice. A big reason is that when one whispers, they actually strain harder to be heard because their voice is softer. This causes constriction and tension in the laryngeal area, and that's certainly not going to help the voice in their recovery process. Vocal rest is hard. It's hard to communicate, and it can be really frustrating, but it is a really important element to recovery. So get yourself a pen and paper or a text-to-speech app or something that will help you communicate to people and commit to it. If you don't fully commit to vocal rest, it's not really going to work. Try it for one day and see if it gets better. If it doesn't, try it for several days. If after several days, vocal rest still isn't helping at all, that's an indication that it might be a serious problem. Now, if the problem persists after you've tried all of those things, then it might be time to see an ear, nose, and throat specialist. ENTs are doctors who specialize in the head and neck region, but more specifically, you're going to want to see somebody who is a laryngologist. That's somebody who is an expert in the larynx. What they're probably going to do is a stroboscopy, which is where they take a really small camera and they put it down your nose and they peer at the back of your throat. Because the vocal folds come together extremely quickly, up to 1,000 times a second, it's really hard to get a good look at them with the natural eye. So this camera functions like a strobe light, where it flashes really quickly and is able to capture slow motion images of the vocal folds. This will allow the doctor to get a clear image of what's going on. They'll probably have you sing or talk a little bit and see how your vocal folds are coming together, and they'll be able to advise you as far as the next steps. Don't let any of this freak you out. As we've talked about, most vocal issues can be solved with some simple lifestyle adjustments and a little bit of rest. Until next time, see you later.